There it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Live with Steve and Justin. Hello, Justin. Nice hat.
Hello, Steve. Thanks for having me back.
I heard you were at the Giant game yesterday. Is that true?
Against my will and better judgment, yes, I was at the Giants game yesterday.
And you
Turned out to
enjoyed
be a
it?
good day.
You did?
I did. I did have a good time. The one thing I would like to mention first is that Harry Carson was there and he rang the bell uh, for surviving his bout with cancer,
Wow.
which was it was an emotional moment. I had tears in my eyes just because I didn't even know that he had cancer. Um, but apparently he's been battling for a while, and they just announced he's cancer free. So he was ringing the bell, and you could tell that the crowd was a younger crowd, I guess, because it was. I would have thought that it would have been more applause and standing ovation, but it resonated with me. I mean, I remember Harry Carson from when I was a kid, and I think probably the most memorable moment was him going out by himself to take the coin toss at the Super Bowl against the Broncos. I
Right.
always thought that was a very poignant moment in New York Giants history. I mean, with all the other talent on that team, obviously, and all the other heroes of the game, and between the quarterback and the points and everything else, Harry Carson was, you know, a mentor to everyone in that defense that went on to again win another Super Bowl a few years later.
Yeah.
So kudos to him. I'm happy to hear that. It was nice to see that in person. And then today, Mara announces that he's battling cancer.
Yeah,
So
I saw that.
yeah, so I hope that he is able to follow the same path as Harry Carson and become cancer free. I mean, I know we talk a lot about different sports owners and when they make mistakes and whatnot, and we criticize them for their pursuit of a championship and how
Right.
they go about it. But that's obviously way bigger than football and
Sure.
puts things in perspective.
Yes. As you know, I'm a 9/11 victim myself, and I had cancer from it. And it really strangely, weirdly, as people have told me, I kind of took it in stride, and because I wasn't in pain or anything like that. But I don't know how many years I'm cancer free. I want to say 7 or 8 at this point.
God bless.
And thank you. And but you meet a lot of people. Meet a lot of people who are really sick. And when I had my surgery, I walked around that hospital, um, walking through the children's wing and Sloan Kettering, who did an amazing job. And it really is a very chilling experience because people are hearing, and I've had, family members where you had to tell them you had 10 days to live and whatever else, and
Incredibly tough experience.
it's incredible tough experience. And then there's others that just, roll with it. So, what are you going to do? But we wish the best to Harry Carson, of course, and the best to Mr. Mara.
Yes,
Um, his family's been in control of the New York Giants for forever.
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 NFL
So,
loyalty. Yeah.
and so now that we said all nice things about him, I was a little interested about the comments that him and the GM made. Was it Saturday? Saturday night?
I think it
Or
was
was it
Saturday.
Friday? Where they said they didn't really sanction this putting Dart in,
They distanced
and
themselves from the head coach.
basically threw him under the bus. And if he would have fallen on his face, they were just setting themselves up to can the guy.
Yeah,
It's
and
it's
it makes you wonder now, going back about the relationship that he had with
sorry.
Wink Martindale before he exited,
Right.
and who's telling us the truth, and how did that transpire? Why did he leave? And now you're seeing Joe Shane basically throw the coach under the bus and completely distance himself from a franchise decision which ironically, you're the one picking these players and you're the one putting all the pieces together. And
It
clearly, it
it
seems like the franchise not on the same page as the coach, or they would have you believe.
So I've worked for a lot of companies in my life before I went to law school. I graduated law school at 40, so I was in a million different businesses, some family owned, some privately owned, some public. And it's amazing the people in power sometimes that, and I see it a lot in school systems too, because I'm an arbitrator for the tenured teacher program, where I decide about people's teachers and others. Um, whatever jobs, whatever things they may have done inappropriately or not, will decide whether they're appropriate and whether they get terminated or not.
Yeah.
And you see again and again, not necessarily in school systems, but in all companies, somebody in power is in power for a long time and they keep their friends around them, whether their friends are successful or not. They keep people they like to have around them. And for me, if I have to say anything, that's what I'm seeing here with the Giants. I mean, that's what you see with the Knicks
Oh,
again and
sure.
again and again.
Oh, man.
I mean, you have these billionaire rich guys have already made their money, and in the NBA, in the NFL, wherever you want to talk about it, you're going to make billions of dollars whether you win or whether you lose.
It makes you wonder how they got to being a billionaire because they surround themselves with yes men, and it's almost as if they don't want to hear any criticism. And it's just they surround themselves with people who are going to tell them what they want to hear. And
Yeah,
I
but
just,
with Mara and with the Knicks, you
James Dolan.
have James Dolan. You have generational wealth. You
Mhm.
have they made money the old-fashioned way. They inherited it, right?
Yeah.
And I met his Dolan's dad a couple of times, and you could tell he was a worker. You could tell that he had his hands in the company to make it perfect. And And I think old man Mara, for lack of a better explanation, I think he was the exact same way. I mean, listen, he put George Young in there and just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
I could bet you times there weren't agreed with him when he wouldn't give people the money or whatever it is. He was successful. He put that '86 team together the hard way, bringing people in, not using any big contracts, getting a rookie, and it was successful. 86 and 90, the coach was great, obviously. The coaches were great. So
Sure. Their whole coaching tree is very successful. Still is.
yeah. So I mean, besides that, uh the coach got a reprieve because Jackson Dart came out like he was supposed to come out, like the high draft pick he was.
Yeah,
He
that
went at
first drive of the game was pretty. It set the tone for the day, um, and he looked every bit of the part of a first round draft pick.
right.
I mean, was it perfect at the end of the day? It wasn't perfect. Did he make mistakes? He made mistakes, but he got things done. He essentially dragged them to a victory. I know he had that one long run called back. He actually took a shot on it about 20 or 30 yards down the field and
Right,
just kept
right, right.
running and got down to the goal line. But he looked fairly poised, in the pocket at times and made some decent throws. I thought the play calling could have been a lot better, especially in the red zone and inside the goal line. Um, but firsthand look, it's a step forward for the Giants for sure. I don't think anybody was giving them a chance this week with the Chargers coming in 3-0. Um, with the Chargers were down, I think, two offensive linemen, um, or at least their left tackle at one point. But a bittersweet victory for the Giants because they lost Malik Neighbors for the season to a turf monster knee injury.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was, I mean, that play was coming at us. We were sitting in that end zone, and he's back looking for the ball, and they go down, and he didn't get up. He was laying there holding his knee the whole time, and I was like, man. I mean, it didn't even look like it was a collision of contact or anything like that. I mean, they were bumping a little bit, but it wasn't anything egregious. And
You saw it on the replay.
yeah, I saw it live. I mean, on the
I mean,
replay,
but
I
on the
didn't see it.
so he's flying through the air and he comes down on one of his legs, and it's just in the most bizarre. When you see, I can't watch it. Like it's a weird turn.
So it happened when he
So,
hit the ground.
yep.
I mean
At
that.
least that's my recollection.
Yeah, I just don't know that that happens on grass. I mean, I guess it could, but to hit the ground and tear an ACL, that's unusual.
But the offense's rookie enthusiasm has spread to the defense.
They
Uh,
played very well yesterday. I have to give the defense credit there. I mean, they were flying all over the field. Um, they had the one huge play. Actually, there was two big running plays where they ran the stretch play, and Amari Hampton took one for a touchdown,
right,
and he just beat the defense to the corner, and there was nobody could seal the edge, and nobody came up to make a tackle. And he just beat them. But it looked like they might have been either out of position or it was just the right call from the offense at that point
right.
against that particular defense. So kudos to them. But other than that, I mean, I thought they played pretty inspired football. The whole game. Obviously, going down and scoring first and watching Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. I mean, two rookies are out there pounding it. You know, um,
Scatterbo threw a block on somebody yesterday, and he just like
the whole,
annihilated him.
the whole stadium. Ooh, it was pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, they're rooting for him. I mean, he's a lunch pail guy, right? Like he's not going to run away from anybody. He's not going to break one for 50, 60 yards. He runs to contact, but he's got great vision inside. So he's able to make moves between the tackles, but outside the tackles is going to be tough for him, especially in the NFL. But he's not afraid to run through contact.
But he
And
can't be doing that every game.
no, I mean, he's not going to last long doing that, but that's who he is.
No one
So
does. No one
I
lasts
don't
long
know that
doing
they
that.
can make that their starting running back long term. Um, and then on the goal line, I mean, it was the play calling was just, I if you're going to line up and give him the ball, don't put him in a one set backfield. Just you know, throw a fullback or a tight end or somebody in there to help lead block for the guy. I mean, he's going to bash heads with whoever comes across the line of
Right.
scrimmage, regardless. But it should look more like that 2 point play where not that he has to be untouched, but he should only have to have one guy to beat when he's trying to get in the end zone.
Absolutely. But they played so much better, and I was very impressed with the heart of the game. I didn't expect that. I expect him to probably play pretty good for a little while.
Yeah, they need some upgrades for sure. Um, they've got some talent left on the offensive uh, on the offense in terms of their wide receiving core,
Right.
but they're going to have to find ways to get these guys open and utilize their talent as is. They
Right.
can't try and force square pegs into a round hole. And the tight end from yesterday that scored the touchdown, 84. They had a very good rapport in the preseason, so he's probably going to become fairly valuable to their offense going forward. Which good for him, good for them. Young quarterbacks need a tight end, and hopefully the Giants can progress and they can build off the momentum they had yesterday. I think to
So
give Dable credit, he kicked a field goal in that game at one point where I thought it was a mistake. I'm like, you're 0-3. Why are you kicking a field goal here? But that turned out to be the difference in the game. They won by 3 points. So
yeah, and you know, his numbers weren't spectacular. I mean,
no,
first of all, they're playing against the Chargers, who looked like the most well-rounded team we saw out there besides Buffalo.
ironically, his numbers were very Daniel Jones like.
I mean, he was 111 yards, looks like 111, and one TD, which he ran in for. Even Scatterboom was 25,
79 yards.
yeah, at 25 attempts.
Yeah.
So,
Clearly, they were trying to protect their quarterback and, run time off the clock, which I have no problem with that if that's your offensive philosophy. I tend to like that kind of football.
I
Um,
mean, Herbert had only had 203 yards.
he never looked like he was in sync yesterday.
Oh,
They looked like a team that traveled across the country and couldn't, almost like they hadn't, like you always talk about being prepared.
right.
They seemed fairly ill prepared.
And
Um,
the Hampton had 12 attempts at 120, looks like 128 yards, one touchdown. So,
that was a 60-yarder.
yeah.
So, they did a pretty good job, I thought, all game, containing him until that one play. He had another big one somewhere else in the game after that.
I know you were nervous that he was good. They were going to lose it, right? They were going to.
It
That's something.
felt like we were waiting for the Chargers to get in sync and just start marching up and down the field. And you thought after their first passing touchdown that was going to happen. And it just seemed to, it never really transpired. After that 60-yard run, then it was tight. Yeah. You
So
know,
that reminded me a little bit like the 85 Giants, 84, 85 Giants, where the defense makes some plays and keeps them in the game,
keeps him in the game.
and and the offense, tries its best, and long as they don't make any big mistakes, they win. The defense keeps them in the game, and I thought the
it,
defense kept them in the game.
it's a pretty simple concept, you know.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did the best. I know, like somebody had mentioned, Harbaugh was upset that they were starting Jackson Dart because he didn't have time to prepare, and I that comment was on Monday. No, I'm sorry, that was yesterday. But they announced that Dart was starting on Sunday or Monday, and I'm thinking to myself, what are they talking about? What's to prepare for? How do you not have time to prepare? So maybe they were referencing that they don't have any film on him, or there was limited film from the preseason. But
Who cares?
who cares? You're still
He
playing against the
looked
same defense that you've been watching for 3 weeks, and they couldn't move the ball for the most part.
he looked out of sorts all day long.
Yeah, it didn't. It just they just were not in sync for sure.
And for whatever reason, they were, like I always say, in there with one boot off, and they can't really seem to get it going. I mean, the play calling wasn't good. Um, the Giants somehow got to the quarterback, and let's not forget they have some great offensive and defensive lines. The Chargers. So
I'll tell you, the Chargers, when we had a front row look at their goal line defense, and I mean those guys can play. I mean they were beating offensive linemen off the ball. They were filling gaps. They were, making tackles on contact on the goal line, filling gaps. They really just played like a team that was, very well coached on that side of the ball
right,
and prepared. And it is a talented defense. They're a very good defense. I I think that's a playoff defense. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl or anything, but I can understand, having trouble stopping an offense where you haven't seen the quarterback, but we've seen it before. Um, but they did not click at all, really, on offense except for those two big plays,
right.
and you
So
know that's going to happen, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know what else you got a chance to see since you were at the game yesterday.
Uh, Very little.
Right,
I
right.
was I was
So
exhausted from the night before, if you
yeah.
remember.
So just a little touch base. Yes, we had a outdoor function the day before, and so Eagles and Buccaneers. Eagles showed that they're a class above the Bucks. I mean, they out there do what they have to do.
I
You
saw the
know,
wide receiver's comments after the game. He tweeted, um, you know, s- I guess something about not AJ Brown, not really getting the ball thrown to him. I guess he
yeah.
only had like 4 targets.
Right.
during the game. And he expressed, I guess, frustration through it, almost intimating that he was ready to walk away from this team, which I just cannot imagine making a comment like that. You won the game. You're coming off a Super Bowl victory. You're 4-0. I mean, I, I don't understand that.
Well, there weren't a lot of passes thrown yesterday. I
Yeah, I mean,
mean, he
sometimes you're going
he
to get
threw.
15 targets and sometimes no.
I mean, I think he had 9 or 10 targets from what I'm looking at, and it's just one of those things.
His tweet was, "If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way." And that sounds like a guy who is trying to get himself traded from a team who's 4-0 that has a Super Bowl trophy in their pocket.
Right.
So if I'm the head coach, I mean, you can dismiss it, and I'm sure he'll defend his player. But inside that locker room and on that sideline and during practice during the week, I'm sure they're going to have their eyeballs on him and their ears open. And you know, it's kind of it's news where there doesn't need to be news, right? Like this is a comment that's going to have all the talking heads, including me. I'm talking about it, wondering what, if any, turmoil is there in that. I mean, Saquon Barkley hasn't had really a great season so far for Saquon, but he's not upset. They're winning, so it's be a good teammate. But
Absolutely.
these diva wide receivers are never happy.
They're never happy because they want money and they get money by scoring touchdowns, right?
That's true. That is true.
So we entered this week saying everybody entered this week talking about the Bills and Green Bay and how those teams really look great. The Bills kept going. The Bills rolled on. The Bills played well. The quarterback looks like an MVP quarterback again. Um,
It looked like I was during the game. I was watching the scoreboard and I saw the Saints looked like they came back in that game, but I guess it really wasn't as close as the final score indicated. Because I know the Bills were up by a bunch for a while there. Um, I know that their running game is solid. They clearly are, in my opinion, the class of the AFC. Um, and the Packers, um, you know,
well, let's
the
talk about them in a minute. Let's talk about
oh
the ups for a minute.
yeah, go ahead.
The other up is the Steelers. All
Yeah,
of a
so we
sudden, everybody's talking about the Steelers being one of the best teams in the
we talked
NFL.
we talked about that after they beat the Jets, uh, week one. Where are they? Are they for real? Is their defense going to be okay? Not okay. They certainly can score points. Then they lose week two, and Rodgers makes those comments. Hey, it's only week two, and it's kind of like, all right, well, he's right, but maybe that's not the right attitude. And then since then, they've kind of poured it on, and they're starting to right the ship, and they are probably now officially in control of that division. It's theirs to lose at this point, even though it's only we're heading into week five now.
I
They've got a
agree.
clear leg up on the Ravens and Cleveland. So even Cleveland's defense is great, but their offense is just it's kind of anemic right now with Joe Flacco at quarterback. As
So,
much as I love Joe Flacco, it's just
and
not the same Joe Flacco these days.
and the other team that came back to life and can't be ignored are the Chiefs.
So we talked about that too, that both teams were coming into this game 1-2, and this was going to change the trajectory of one franchise for the season. And I, I thought going in that the Chiefs were on the brink of the end of this dynasty if the Ravens could beat them. And at the same time, I'm going through my fantasy football Sunday matchups, and I'm like, gee, Patrick Mahomes looks really good here. I think I should play him. And I did. It didn't help, but I mean, he scored the most points. But I thought the Ravens were a wounded duck, and they looked like a team that wasn't going to get it together.
That's the other thing we learned,
Yeah,
that the Ravens aren't the team you think they are.
yeah, and it's incredible that a week 4 matchup could be so glaring and have so much impact for both teams, right? Like if the Chiefs had lost, it'd be the same fear of where's their season going. But the Chiefs are now back in the division after the Chargers lost to the Giants. They've evened their record at 2-2, and you know if they can sustain their offense, which it seems like their offense is suffering because of injuries. Their offensive line is playing okay. Their defense, I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible. So because of who they are and because of who they have and because of who their coach is, that was a big step forward for them this week, just for this season. And the Ravens are now 1-3. Lamar is hurt. They couldn't run the football. I mean, they got Derrick Henry back there. They could last week. They got stuffed on the goal line, and they ran that quarterback option play where he fumbled the ball. And I mean, they just don't look like the team we thought was ready to take the next step and maybe break through. And they had Buffalo on the ropes in week 1, and they gave that game away. And now they're 1-3, and they're looking like the ship is taking on water, and there's no help. So I don't know what's going to happen, if it's their defense, if it's their play calling, if people are just used to what they've shown for the last 3 or 4 years and they're catching up or whatever. But the Ravens look like a team that's very much in trouble right now.
And at the risk of talking about teams in trouble, the Titans are so bad that you don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look like a very well coached team, unfortunately. Um, the quarterback, he's a talented player, but their franchise is a mess, and the roster is probably not that good. And this is, unfortunately, a side effect of where the NFL is these days, with their pay scale and having enough players on the field that are actually NFL level talented players, and they want to expand. But when you see a team like this struggling so poorly, um,
It's hard.
it's
Number
hard to
one,
it's hard to justify making the product bigger and adding more teams. Where are you going to find players to fill those rosters?
well, I think it's a catch-22 with the NFL. I think you need that great quarterback to win.
Yeah, I mean
And
they
and
they
and
forced it
and this
into that.
guy could be good, but they got nothing to give him.
I can't imagine where teams from the '90s that had great quarterbacks that didn't win, where they would be in today's NFL.
And I saw this on Get Up today, and their quote was, the NFL destroys more good quarterbacks than they make.
Yeah, I agree. They've made it quarterback centric. Um,
And they really need a good coach who knows how to build a team. Look at Patrick Mahomes. He lands with one of the best offensive minds and an ownership that says, "Go get him.
yeah,
Go. Here's what you got. Go get him."
if he had ended up with the Jets or Cleveland or God knows who, uh,
He'd be hurt right now.
he'd probably be hurt right now. He may not even be playing. It's crazy to think that the line between great and not great is so thin, I guess, from franchise to franchise. But it's a glaring problem for the NFL for sure. It put a lot of you know pressure on these quarterbacks to play right away.
Right.
Which, if you talk to anybody who's graduated from this league, so to speak, they 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 tell you the most important thing for the quarterbacks is to learn before getting out there and actually playing in this game, because the jump from where they come from in college to where they have to be in the NFL is a huge learning curve.
Absolutely.
So the NFL, thinking in the future if they're going to expand to even more teams, you know, I mean, that just means that the good players are going to go to other teams. You'll have less great players on each team, which is what they want, right? They want parity. So instead of having a great offense, you might have one or two great offensive players, and you won't see a tremendous defense. You're not going to see a tremendous offense.
Yeah, but they don't. They not only want parity, they want Tom Brady.
They're not going to get that.
They want a guy that goes out there and everybody watches.
Yeah, there's only one, right? I mean,
Well,
and it's
Mahomes is like that,
Mahomes is like that because he wins, right? It's still about winning. At the end of the
and he
day,
puts
everybody
on a
wants to win.
spectacle. He puts on a
He's a great
spectacle.
athlete. I mean, phenomenal athlete, and he is a great quarterback. By the time his career's over, I think if he wins one more Super Bowl, he's cemented himself in the conversation with Montana and Tom Brady. Um,
You think
it's
Brady was better than Montana?
two different eras.
Yeah, I agree.
Two different eras. I mean, Joe Montana was pretty tough.
He
I
was
mean,
a leader too,
and
just a
was an
leader.
elite thrower of the football, incredibly accurate, a leader for sure, both in the clubhouse, on the field, off the field. Had so many other intangibles and a different kind of personality altogether than Tom Brady.
So my favorite Joe Montana story is there's the infamous Dwight Clark, right? The infamous pass to Dwight Clark. They're on the goal line or in a Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
sprint right option.
All this pressure is on him. Joe Montana's sitting there in the huddle with the guys, and he looks up in the stands and goes, "Hey, there's John Candy."
Yeah,
And there's video of it, and you hear him because there's a microphone. And everybody turns around. They're looking at John. Here they are at the quintuple moment. They've been working since
yeah. They have to go
since
89 yards to win this thing, and he's looking at John Candy.
tiny football. He's like, "There's John Candy." He's like, "Check it out. There's John Candy." It's just like a great moment. And
Yeah, it was who was the center? Was it Harris Bart? I'm trying to remember who their center was. He was talking about being in the huddle, and he points at like they're all tense and like, oh my god, this is it. And he goes over and points to John Candy, and he's just it broke up the angst and
right,
took the pressure off them because he was so cool about it. It made them not worry.
he was cool.
Joe Cool.
He's not my. I'm old, so he's not my Johnny Unitas. But what are you gonna do? Actually, Unitas was pretty much before my time. His moments, I was really too young for. Um, in '69, I was 10 years old, and it sounds like a song. And I was 10 years old, and I remember watching that Super Bowl. I remember watching all the Super Bowls actually, but it was Unitas was pretty much done. He had been hurt. The backup quarterback of Morton, I think it was in, and he wasn't doing well. And they brought Unitas in. Even though he's injured, he started moving the ball down the field. He just didn't have any time left. They waited too long to do it.
Yeah.
So
He was, I didn't see him play, but he was still a household name when I was growing up because it was always, when the coaches would yell at you or make funny, they'd say they'd use two names. Who do you think you are, Babe Ruth? Or if you're playing football, who do you think you are, Johnny Unitas? So it shows his prowess and gravitas and who he was
well, they said
for many years.
the line goes, when did Johnny Unitas take control of the team in the game? And they said the moment he stepped off the bus. As soon as he stepped off the bus, he took over the whole team and game. So
Yeah,
he was that, and to show what a different era was in the off season, he worked in a steel mill. So
that ain't happening today.
that ain't happening today, right?
No chance.
That ain't happening today. So Indianapolis lost their first game. The Rams served them up.
Well, I mean, they had two plays called back. Well,
I know.
one play called back, but the first one was the touchdown with the wide receiver who inexplicably makes this great play on what I thought was probably going to be a pass interference call, leaning into the defender and defensive pass interference for contact or whatever downfield. And he makes a great catch and then shakes the defender and beats the next guy trying to tackle him, running down the sideline. And he looks back and holds out the ball. He loses the handle on the football, goes through the back of the end zone. That drives me nuts. If I'm a coach, you're benched. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good
I
you are.
agree. I
There's
agree.
only one way to fix that. Benched. You're excuse my language. You're benched because later in the game he gets a holding penalty on a block that I don't. The guy ran 60 yards for a touchdown. It was a great play, but that's in his head, right?
Right.
I mean, you can't do that. And he needs to be benched. You need to get through to the guy. There's only one way to do it. You bench him. If he doesn't like it, pack your bags. You're getting traded to Cleveland. Because if you're a coach and you
You're
you
getting
can't
traded to
discipline,
Cleveland.
you can't. Well, that's what they did with Chris
Right.
Carter, right? I mean, they
Right.
shipped him off to Minnesota, and Chris Carter praises Buddy Ryan for having done that to him because he couldn't get his act together. And I mean, I know he had bigger problems at that moment in his life than just dropping a touchdown pass, but that moment straightened him out. And a lot of times today they make a big deal about the coach embarrassing a player, especially after what Mike Singletary did. But there's a way to do it. You bench him. He's not playing today. Is he? Nope, he's not available. He's in street clothes. Why? Next question. You leave it at that, and you get their attention. And either they step up and they play like they can and don't make
Right.
those mistakes, or they're gonna it's gonna rear its head somewhere else if you let them get away with it, and it sends a terrible message to the rest of the team, especially guys that are not skill position players, right? They're out there fighting. If you're an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, and you're on every play, you're in a car wreck. You're giving everything you have. You're sacrificing your body to win games. And you see a guy with all that talent make a boneheaded play like that and not be disciplined afterwards. I mean, it's inexcusable.
I agree. That never used to happen. Happens
Happens all
now.
the time now. See it a lot in college. They run, they start slowing down, they drop the ball before they cross the goal line. I mean, you can't have that.
I mean, the only other team I would mention is seems like the Commanders are holding on to nothing without their quarterback.
So
Had Mariota in there, right?
yeah,
And they lost to the Falcons, who are now 2-2. They're both
Falcons are
two and
very
two.
much Heckle and Jekyll. I think it seems like you know one week they look like world beaters, and then another week they're just like they get shut out, and you think your head spins. Like, how did that happen? Washington is still one of the younger teams, I think, in the
Yeah,
NFL. So they're growing. We talked about that week one and where they're headed, and I still think they're trending upwards. So we'll see. I mean, I know they had tremendous success last year.
so let's talk about your team. There's two games tonight, and the first one, of course, at 7 o'clock, which is not far from now, is the Jets and the Dolphins. It's a divisional rivalry to say the least, but I think the Jets have a rivalry with everybody in their division. Um,
Yeah, everybody hates them. That's the rivalry.
Something to that.
They're like they're like a kid that gets picked on, and they just keep picking on them. So we talked about it last week. First we mentioned the Giants and the Chargers, and we joked around about Jim Harbaugh beating three Hall of Fame head coaches, and maybe the Giants actually have a chance because they don't have a Hall of Fame head coach just yet. Uh, and the Giants circled the wagons and won the game. And I said last week that going to Miami, you know, for Aaron Glenn was going to be it's a meaningful game for him. It has to be. I
Right.
can't imagine it not being a meaningful game for him. I know that aside from the fact that they're 0-3, um, they thought they were going to win. Uh, two of these games. They could very easily be, 2-1.
Right.
Um, but they're the Jets, right? So you don't expect much. And they're going into Miami. They're on the road. Miami's look terrible. They you don't know whether they're coming or going.
They
Um,
weren't bad last week, but the week before they were
yeah,
ridiculous.
and their coach, I still think he's kind of a weird guy. He's aloof, and he doesn't look like your typical NFL head coach, but a smart guy. And um, maybe I shouldn't say weird, maybe eclectic or whatever. Um, but he's going to have, he'll have, I'm sure he'll have his team prepared to play the Jets. It is a division game. These teams know each other inside and out. But for Aaron Glenn, this has to mean something.
Right.
Um, he was the corner on the fake spike play, and that play is not indicative of his career because he was a good player, and he was one of the players the Jets lost to the Texans when they first opened their franchise.
Right.
I think he was the second player selected in that expansion draft by the Texans, and he, he's got to have this team ready to go. He's got to have them ready to fight. I mean, they have to put something together this week, whether it's protecting the quarterback, who I haven't heard yet if he's playing. I know all I heard was if he's cleared to play, he will play, Justin Fields.
Right.
But if I'm the coach, especially nowadays, guy coming off concussion, unless it's Tom Brady or Johnny Unitas, I'm not I'm not throwing him back out there just yet. And if I have to, I'm going to make sure that my offensive linemen are ready to protect him, but also that we have to run the football.
Right.
So I would imagine the Jets are going to try to establish running the football early tonight and try and get Brees Hall going because there were rumblings earlier this week about him maybe being traded because they have this quasi three-headed monster in the backfield with the other two. I know Braylon Allen is a great talent. Um, so who knows what the game plan is, but as far as being in the locker room tonight, if you're Aaron Glenn all week, I can imagine he must have been telling these guys it's a division game, it's an important game, we're on the road, it's a business trip. I didn't really hear much from the Jets this week. There was nothing in the papers, and there was
Nothing.
it was very quiet for the Jets. Almost eerily quiet. Like you noticed there was no banter, there was no corkboard headlines or anything like that. So I would be very surprised if the Jets weren't ready to play tonight, because typically Monday night Jets Dolphins games are pretty exciting.
Right.
So I expect to see some fireworks tonight from both sides. But I'm gonna be a homer and say that the Jets, following the Giants' victory yesterday, maybe they're a little inspired. They want to get on the win column themselves.
Well,
So
the
I would take the
Dolphins are
Jets tonight.
minus 2.5.
The Dolphins are favored. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Jets, right? I mean, how many 1 point games are they going to be? 1 and 2 point games. Hopefully, it's not as heartbreaking as it was last week, and they can get a victory tonight, just to get them all, in the win column.
So then the other game tonight is the late game, as they say, Bengals and Broncos. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
the
Bengals
Bang
look like they're very much bleeding out right now, and I would expect
bleed
the Broncos to be more than prepared for tonight.
bleeding out is the term you want to use.
Probably not the best start, but you know they're not just yet a sinking ship. They're dripping oil. How about that? They're
Okay,
rudderless. They're rudderless without their quarterback.
right. So the Jets are plus 2.5. The Dolphins are minus 2.5. And the other game, where is it?
Well, it
I'm
was
just. It was
five or six.
7.5, but I don't know what it is now. I got to find it. Here it is. The minus 7.5 to the Broncos, plus 7.5, obviously, to the
That game is
Bengals.
in Denver.
That game is in Denver.
Yeah, they need a pretty big win. I mean, they should they need to stay in line with the Chiefs and the
It's funny because the under-over is 44.5.
Well, it's
And the Jets
probably
Dolphin,
right
the
in the ball.
under-over is 43.5.
Something tells me we're going to see the over in the Jets game tonight. I know it's those two teams usually combine for a lot of points, even when they're bad. So we'll see what happens. But I think the Broncos are going to take them to task tonight. They're a good football team. We know they're well coached. The Bengals are without their quarterback. I know they have the star wide receiver and
Right.
whatnot, but and their defense isn't terrible. It's not great, but I just think the Broncos are going to outclass them tonight.
So, at the risk of changing sports, I mean, we could talk about next week on the NFL picks a little bit, but um, we're moving into the Major League Baseball. We're moving into the playoffs.
Some
And,
are and some aren't.
some are and some aren't. And it's funny because Jason and I have been talking a lot this week about gambling and the effect and players and things. And I think we're going to put a show aside to talk about different instances about gambling in professional sports, and maybe we can cover it all in one show.
Sure.
But for now, maybe we'll do that after the season. Only because we'll have nothing to talk about then. So the wild card game, as you know, is National League, and I'll bring that up first. Is the Dodgers in Cincinnati?
Wow, Cincinnati made it, huh?
Somehow, a team with what $119 million payroll beat out the
Boy, that's a lot of
highest
money.
paid team in the league with 341 million,
Hard to
something like
believe.
that.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
But you know
And
what they say, you got to believe.
you got to believe. Amazing. You know those amazing men.
Amazing.
Here is Steve Cohen's comment today or regarding what happened to this wonderful team of his. Steve Cohen on whatever this is, I guess it's X or something. Met fans everywhere, I owe you an apology.
Sure
How
does.
about I took your money and didn't produce? No, said you did your part by showing up, same thing, and supporting the team. We didn't do our part. We will do a post mortem and figure out the obvious and less obvious reasons why the team didn't perform up to your and my expectations. We are feeling raw emotions today. I know how much time, effort you have put into this team. Wow. The results was unacceptable. Your emotions tell me how much you care and continues to motivate the organization to do better. Thank you, the best fans in sports.
Yeah, so I think there's a little window dressing there from him because the first thing he mentions is the fans and their dedication for coming out this year because he had criticized them for not coming previously.
Correct.
And I don't think that's ever really fair for an owner to make comments like that about his fan base.
A $1 billion owner, yes.
Yeah.
I think
These
that's
games are expensive. Families are struggling. There's a lot of corporate seats that are sold and empty for whatever reason. So, on top of that, you have, 2 or 3 different network deals, streaming, Amazon, Apple TV. Some fans can't even afford that, right?
correct.
And they're trying to find these games to watch. You're by increasing your revenue streams, you are decreasing your fan base. And I think the Mets are probably, even though it's New York, like I said, there's a little window dressing there.
Right.
Also, you've got, this 300 and something $1 million payroll, and you're telling the fans that the product on the field didn't meet your expectations. But you spent almost $400 million on payroll. You refuse to pay your best player your franchise best player, Pete Alonso, you strung him out again on a 1-year deal, and the first thing he does is announce his free agency, which is normal. I mean, why would he wait after till a week or two? Just announce it and get it over with. You knew it was coming anyway. But that lack of commitment to your core players, coupled with the fact that you're spending all this money on, I mean, you gave Soto almost $800 million, and then you have an analytics guy as your general manager, and you acquiesce to the analytics, and you expect fans to buy into this. If you're going to spend that much money, spend it on ball players. It's not that hard of a concept. If you're over the luxury tax threshold, then be over the threshold. So, like I said, I think there's some window dressing there.
Yeah.
It is
Well, I think
inexplicable to me that a team that spent that much money and has the best player in baseball misses the playoffs in a playoff that is expanded. So they've got some serious soul searching to do on how they want to move forward from here, because they can't miss the playoffs. You don't have to win a World Series, even though you promised your fans 4 or 5 years will win a World Series. Well, 5 years has passed and you haven't delivered. So I think all the noise can calm down that, he's our George Steinbrenner. He's going to win us a championship. He's going to do all the right things, and he's going to. It doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit.
so. I've been thinking a lot about analytics, and I think it's going to take a team without analytics to win it all, for everybody to start to change.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think when you have these billionaire owners, which we all have now, all have billionaire owners, and not traditional baseball people, like the Hunts own the Kansas City Chiefs, or traditional the Maras. These
the
are all
Rooney's.
traditional Roonies. Traditional. These teams have been in their families for generations, and you could say that about the Steinbrenners too. But
Well, I mean,
they're not taking. And let me finish for a second. That the these billionaire owners cannot get their head around the magic of baseball. Baseball people, real baseball. If you ever watch, you know, if you don't know that much about baseball and you watch some of the real movies about baseball where they talk about how they draft people, more documentaries, how they look at people, how they grade people, what they do, what are the intangibles. But at the end of the day, just like in football, you go out there, you do it or you don't. You can look till the end of time. You got to get out there and do it. And I think the baseball owners today have all that money and they have to understand how their team is going to work. And analytics, they can understand. They can't understand baseball because they didn't grow up with it. They can't understand what it takes, a catcher, a this, a Texas leaguer, a split fingered fastball, righty lefty, um, um, small ball. They do understand home runs, and obviously they understand wins and losses. But their limited baseball experience is causing them to go to analytics because it gives them an opportunity to logically understand their team rather than listen to a bunch of old guys sitting around a table saying, yeah, this guy's a great ball player. He really comes to park to the play. He, all the cliches. And, we've all seen the movie Moneyball, and you saw all those guys sitting around the table talking. And I understand the Moneyball process. Over a long term, I don't think it works. And I've never thought it works. And I understand, it's a cheat, and cheats don't work. They never work. They
yeah,
may get, and I think what's being lost, and may be lost forever soon, is the understanding of what makes really baseball players, what makes them work, what talents they have. Like, look at Babe Ruth, all right? Greatest player that ever lived. pitched, hit. He drank every day. He barely could make it to the park. He weighed some ridiculous amount of weight, and yet, he could play ball. Not only could he play it, he played it better than anybody else.
The lore of Babe Ruth would probably have you believe as a kid that he was 500 pounds, but I think he was only about two
Yeah,
220.
he wasn't
You
that
know,
much.
he wasn't as big as his legend says he is in terms of girth and weight.
And he was one of
Um,
those guys that was stronger than
Strong as an ox.
ox.
Strong as an ox.
Ox.
Just I like you opened the show talking about owners and how they have these relationships with their general managers in football and baseball. It's I don't know. I'm trying to think like if I mean the Steinbrenners only owned the team since 1972. Outside of that, you know, uh, what long term ownership in baseball is there from what you would consider baseball royalty families? Um, I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head. For some reason, Marge Schott's name is ringing in my head, but I know she's long gone.
Yeah, I
But I
mean,
mentioned that because of Cincinnati. Um,
well, the Milwaukee is hedge fund guys now, but they do
yeah,
tend to keep some old school baseball players around them. Um,
yeah. These franchises went from, you know, I mean, it was lucrative back in the day because you collected the gate, right? So you got people to show up to these games, and it was all about selling hot dogs and people showing up to the ballpark. And they made money because it was cheap to go to the games. So you could fill the stadium with 30, 40, or 50,000 people because tickets were real, fairly inexpensive. Whereas now
there
they
was a
want,
ticket for everybody.
yeah, that's
There
right,
was every price point.
every price point. Now, I mean, it costs a fortune even to sit in seats that are not very good. And I understand how we got there, but it's 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 a different it's just a different product now than it was 100 years ago, but certainly even from 20 years ago, right? Like where if you're a Yankee fan, you're in year 20 of analytics because it started with the Yankees or they started their analytics department in 2005. But
Right.
analytics being used in baseball's probably even 10 years older than that, right? So now everyone has acquiesced. For the
So
Yankees,
the longest owner, I'm looking at the list now. I pulled it up. Is Steinbrenners.
right? So
So
it's
they
already
own
past the first
since
generation of
right
baseball owners.
8.7 million they paid.
I think he paid like 200 grand out of pocket for that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the next is the Tigers, Olympia Entertainment, Detroit Tigers, Chris Lilich, and they're 92. And that came also with the Colorado Rockies, Charlie Monfort.
Right, right.
So, and everything here's 81, Chicago White Sox. They've been around a long time. And Jerry Rizzendorf, he's not really an analytics guy. So there are some people still hanging out there, but they haven't really won either. So I mean, that's part of the thing. Who's this? 44 million. Minnesota Twins. They come up in 84. 92, 92, 95, 2006. Boy, people didn't really spend much money.
It's amazing.
It's really amazing what it is. And well,
Compared to today's numbers, sure.
The Padres, but Peter O'Malley. I mean, he's a long time baseball guy, right?
It's
And
been there.
there's Steve Cohen paid the most of any other owner, 2.4 billion. Um,
I just can't
Marlins.
imagine spending that much money to buy something and then not having control and trusting someone enough to give them control of the operation. That part is really, I mean,
But the person that you're giving control to, he can, through analytics, can articulate what he's going to do. The guy that drafts Joe Blow from Idaho is going to say, well, he's fast, he's got a great glove, he shows up at the park, he's there in clutch spots. For my 2 billion, I'm going, what are you talking about?
yeah, but what's this WR squared plus RC minus what? I mean, right? Like they come up with these obscure stats to justify their analytics. Can the guy play baseball?
That's right.
Can he
I
run?
mean,
Did he
I,
pass the eyeball test?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's just sometimes you wonder, like, where is your head at when you're making these decisions to carry some of these players on your teams?
It's like shoemakers; they're all disappearing.
Not many left.
There are people that really, the Billy Martins of the world, the who else you want to say?
It's
You go,
because we live in a throwaway society. I hate to use that term, but a friend of mine used to say it all the time. If something doesn't work, throw it out, buy a new one. And who takes a belt that, the strap came off the buckle to the shoemaker to have him fix your belt? Who has their favorite pair of shoes resold or,
well, my
reconditioned?
my dress shoes, I do,
Yeah,
but they're very expensive. So
right. But now, you know, people under 40, they just throw them out and get a new pair. And they spend $200 or $300 to do it. And we do the same thing with kitchen appliances and
and that
cars.
gets back to me being old. So,
Well, no, I
but
mean, vintage, not old.
yeah,
Seasoned. How
I'm
about that?
vintage.
Seasoned.
I'm vintage. That's what I am. Hanging on by a thread over here. So, I mean, there are a lot of things, right? There are a
Yeah,
lot of things like that, and I really believe that playing baseball has become a lost art, right?
yeah,
So, so,
no question.
so think about how when you talk about trickle down theory, think about how it works. I want to play professional baseball. So here are the stats that generate my worth. So when I'm playing in college, am I worried about winning? Am I worried about making sure we get this game, making sure it is? What do we worry about? We worry about generating those stats that are going to fit into the analytic structure
Yep.
and make it all happen.
And
But
also get me a spot on Sports Center highlights.
and what is when I think of Derek Jeter, all right? When I think of Derek Jeter, I think of the flip.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the greatest hustle move I've ever seen in all my years watching baseball. And I've been watching it since I'm a tiny little boy.
So hustle, it doesn't cost anything, right? That's what the coaches used to tell us. It doesn't
Heart,
cost you anything to hustle.
heart, and hustle.
The other part of that play that is more overlooked, in my opinion, is his awareness, his baseball IQ.
Absolutely.
He followed the play. He knew where the runners were. He knew where the throw was going to be. He put himself in position to make a play, and it was a great play on top of it, which not a lot of other guys would have even been in position to make that play. And today, the baseball IQ is not there with some of these players, even the ones who are at the top of the list of great players. Their baseball IQ is almost virtually lost.
So when I played Little League, and this is like a bad comparison, but we're going to make it anyway.
Go
When
for
I
it.
when I played Little League, my father used to take me out, and my father never played baseball a day in his life. He lived in the city, he went to the war at 14. He didn't play baseball. He delivered ice as a kid to the Cotton Club. So he used to take me out in the field and we'd hit balls whenever. He bought me this book. It's how to play baseball. And it went through all the things. When the guy's on first, the ball gets hit the right field, you back up second base. when your ball gets hit, the guy's on second base, the ball gets hit to left field, you back up, a different spot. So it was all these things, and my father used to take me out in a dirt field by our house and basically run through all those patterns, you know, the fundamentals of playing baseball. So I never played. I was a big fat kid as a little or whatever it was at that time, and I didn't play, and I didn't really say much. And one day, coach put me in center field. The ball, and on my team, 7 of the 9 guys were named Steve. No joke. It really didn't work out well for the drafting process. So, and it was the Mets, strangely enough, the local Oakland, New Jersey Mets in 1960.
I played for the Telemets.
60 something. And like, I don't know, it was a play, and I ran in from center field to back up the second baseman. Second baseman drops the ball. It rolls in front of me because I'm standing right there. I pick it up. The runner looks at me. I take 2 steps forward and tag him out. From that day on, I played every day.
Played every day. Heads up baseball. Good for you. I mean, listen.
I think about you think about what made Lawrence Taylor good. Lawrence Taylor was always around the ball. He got all those fumbles because he was always standing there. You used to watch the replays of the games. He would run after everybody. And the ball would be deflected. He'd be standing there. The ball would fall out of somebody's hand. He'd be standing there. Good players make their own luck in that way. And all these intangibles are all lost in baseball, are being lost.
Yeah, I agree. You see it on the field. Some of these games are unwatchable. You wonder how these guys make these plays or don't make these plays, and they get caught sleeping and picked off or bad base running, or thrown to the wrong base, not hitting the cutoff man. All the things that you learn in Little League, or at least we used to learn in Little League. And now they get to the major leagues. It's not there. I don't understand it.
And that's what's amazing about the Derek Jeter play. And I was never a big Derek Jeter fan till that day. Not only does he go, he's there when the ball falls through. He makes sure he's there. He has the awareness of where the runner is, and he flips the ball to the catcher and makes the play.
It's really
like, did that just really happen?
I mean, Posada made a great play also.
Yes.
Fielding the ball and making the tag. So, and I mean, I know the throw didn't hit the cutoff man or whatever, but the throw was on line to the plate. So everything happened, even the play Jeter made on Timo Perez in the World Series,
right,
running out, getting the cutoff and firing to home plate. You don't see those plays a lot, and I know that's a tremendous play. It's a great play, but that's again an example of the awareness of the player having a baseball IQ and being in position to make a play.
And that is all things that are lost in today's world.
Certainly.
And I think they're lost in football. I think they're lost in baseball. I don't know what to say about hockey and Major League. I mean, the NBA. Well, that's a whole conversation on its own. So back. Let's take the baseball for a minute. So here's batting title. I guess we got to talk about Judge since we're both, or at least I am. You're a Yankee fan, or are you a Met fan?
I'm a Yankees fan.
So,
right and true.
Aaron Judge, 152 games. Can't complain about that. 541 at bats, 137 runs, 179 hits, 114 RBIs, 124 base on balls. It's a lot.
He was walked. I think he broke the record for intentional walks in the American League this year.
Well, not for anything. The next person on this list has 40 based on balls. And this is the hitting.
He's gonna. I'll tell you, he might be the one guy that benefits the most from the automated strike zone next year because he's
I
not gonna.
agree.
He's not. They're not going to be able to call those low strikes on him. The one thing I would be concerned about with him on that is the high strikes based on where this thing is going to be calibrated. But that's an adjustment he can make. I mean, he's got a great eye. Um, he certainly is worthy of MVP. Um,
His slugging percentage is 688.
so his
688.
so his
The
OPS
next
must
guy on
be
the list
over
is
1,000.
483. Even the guy on the National League list is 457. And meanwhile, he batted 331, which is
So
a
it's
George
incredible
Brett
to
kind of
think.
number.
I mean, he was well over 400 the first 2 months of the season. His batting average dropped almost 100 points at one point, which for anybody else, it's, batting 300 today, it's like people don't appreciate how good somebody is. The guy from Seattle's hitting 246, or I don't know what he finished with. Maybe he got closer to 250. Um,
Well,
but
Bo Bichette, who's on Toronto, is the next guy on the list. His batting average is 311. He had 139 games, so a little less. 20 games left,
he's a
15
good
games
player.
less. Very good. He's a shortstop. You
Yeah.
don't see shortstops on lists like this.
Nope.
Um, he, like I said, he had 40 base on balls, so they pitched to him a lot more. 181 hits, so around the same number of hits, and only 94 RBIs. So, a total different player. Who we want to go down to? Nobody.
What did the dumper finish with home runs? He finished with the 60 on the nose.
Who's
The
that?
catcher from Seattle.
I don't know. I don't have that right in front of me. You want me to look it up?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna. I know he got to 60. I don't have it.
I'll look it up. Don't worry.
It was a long weekend.
Career leaders, major league career. Um, Cal Riley, you're talking about, right?
Yes, Kyle Raleigh.
He hit 56. He hit 60.
So he finished with 60.
Right. Schwaber hit 56.
Schwarber is
Oh,
unbelievable.
Schwarber, Ortani hit 55. What do you want to say about him? Aaron Judge hit 53. And then it goes to Soto had 43. Alfonso had 38.
Soto had a good season for what it's worth. I would take those numbers if I was anybody else.
Chisholm had 31. And let's look at the National League a little. National League, Tria Turner from Philadelphia.
Trey Turner.
He had 304. He batted. It was in 151 games. About the same number at bats as Judge. 43 based on balls to give you an idea what a difference. That's why his slugging. That's why his percentage, his on base percentage, is off the charts.
I think everybody's going to benefit from the automated strike zone. That'll give baseball what it wants, and maybe the automated strike zone will change the analytics of the game.
So it's funny. His Judge's on base percentage is 200 points. Is 100 points higher than most anybody else, and because of the walks, if you think about it.
Yeah, sure.
And his slugging percentage is over 200 points higher than anybody else.
Incredible, really incredible.
So that's the major league. So we have. I know we didn't get past Cincinnati, but
You could
just to round that up. Cincinnati's playing the Dodgers, and that should be. I want to say that's Wednesday. I have that here too. The Cincinnati Dodgers. No, it is. It's the late game on tomorrow. The Yankees in Boston are at 6:08. Detroit and Cleveland is at 1:08, and San Diego and Chicago's at 3:08. So if you like baseball, turn the television on at 1 o'clock.
It's a
You
good
could,
day to be a stay-at-home dad. I can tell you that.
yeah, I got a hearing in Peekskill. But um, so that begins it. The people that get a bye is the Phillies, Milwaukee, Toronto, and Seattle.
Oh, Seattle did get the bye, right? Okay.
So the rest of it should be, there should be some good baseball coming up. Hopefully
I'm
nobody.
actually kind of glad for the Yankees that they're going to play right away. I think that's probably important to keep the momentum going. I'm just, you know, Boston kind of had our number this year in the regular season. Um, but it should be interesting. I mean, the Yankees, I asked Dom which team you think was better going in, and, we went through the phases of the game. He said this team is better starting pitching than last year up front for sure. And I think also on the back end. But our bullpen this year is not what it was. I mean, Weaver was pretty much
Right,
lights out last year, and and I don't want to say he's non-existent, but it doesn't have the same. We don't. I mean, you don't know what Boone's going to do. Who is he throwing out there? Is he gonna save Williams for a ninth inning big spot? He's going to continue to use him in the seventh or eighth inning, which I think he should do at this point. And then what you're going to get from whoever closes these games is unknown, really. Um, we've got a small sample size from post trade deadline,
right.
so that's a concern. Hopefully, somebody rises to the occasion. It'd be even better if we scored enough runs not to have to worry about it. You're going to obviously expect Giancarlo Stanton to continue his postseason prowess and deliver some big hits. And you got Cody Bellinger in that lineup this year, savvy ball player, heady ball player, world champion ball player. So he's got playoff experience and just an all around, you know, decent ball player. He's good in the field. He's not a liability anywhere. So hopefully that gives the Yankees an edge. And then you got Judge, who, hopefully he can relax this year and, take some of the pressure off himself and just keep hitting 320. I don't care if he hits any home runs. Just be who you were this year. Continue to be that guy. Um,
And you have Stanton that kind of woke up his bat a little bit. Carlos a
he
little.
had a great season considering he was, again, he was hurt to start the season with the
Right,
elbows issue, and he came back kind of where he left off from last year's
right.
playoffs. So you're hopeful if you're a Yankees fan. I mean, your lineup is built. I've been saying it forever. Your lineup is built to score 6 runs a game, so you shouldn't have to worry about uh, other teams beating your starting pitching. But the playoffs is a different animal altogether. You never
Right.
know how the pressure is going to get to somebody or how big the moment is going to be. And when you're a Yankees fan and you're in the Bronx, you watch these games and you're playing in that lineup, it is an incredible amount of pressure because every single pitch is life or death. You can feel it seething from the fans, not only in the fans in the seats, but people at home watching on TV.
I have friends that like wear their hat inside out. They put the glove on top of the television and all that crap. So all right. So to leave it with that, we will see. We'll talk about that next week, I'm sure. Maybe the drama will be over. Maybe it won't. But next week's football, just to go over quickly, Thursday nights, Niners and Rams. And
Thursday night, nine. Oh, so that is where is that game? Well, obviously it's in California. Um, Matthew Stafford looks good. He's playing like a pro, like that he is. He's got some talent. He seems to have started a good rapport with Devontae Adams. He's got Puka Nacua, who's just tremendous, probably the best receiver in the NFL at this point. Um,
so
their
we'll
running
see.
game is decent.
Yeah.
You question, what they really are because of what happened against Philadelphia. Um, Maybe it's their defense is young. Maybe it's they don't have enough time. I don't know. But you look for the Rams to take control of that division with a win on Thursday night. They
And
have to
then
take advantage of the fact that the 49ers quarterback is out.
we start on Sunday in Europe. I don't know where. I think it's London. They played Vikings and Browns. Back-to-back games there.
That game is this upcoming weekend.
Sunday the 5th, yeah.
So the Vikings went from Ireland to London.
That is the first time that the NFL has done that.
Wow, that is incredible. So they stayed. I'm assuming they stayed out there. They're not flying back and forth.
They're drinking Guinness as we speak.
Ha.
So I'm
wow.
Don't even get me started on that. All right.
Well, I know we neither of us like it, but I will say that I listened to a lot of the fallout from the Ireland game, and I know the Rooneys had a big impact because they are Irish or of Irish descent. Taking this off, they they had a very good response from the crowd in Ireland, and it seemed like the players enjoyed being there. There was good turnout. It was well received. So, maybe it's a better place than playing in London. I don't know, but I guess the Vikings will be the ones to tell us that when they finish this week.
So yeah, and how drained out they are when they have to get back in the regular rigmarole. I'm sure they'll make them play a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then Cowboys and Jets, 1:00. Giants and Saints, 1:00. Raiders and Colts, 1:00. Dolphins and Panthers, 1:00. Broncos and the Eagles, 1:00. Texas and Ravens, 1:00. Titans and Cardinals, 4:00. Buccaneers and Seahawks, 4:00.
That's a big one.
Yep. Lions and Bengals, 4:25. Commanders and Chargers, 4:25. Patriots and Bills, 8:20.
Another big one.
On Sunday, and Chiefs and Jaguars at 8:15 on Monday.
So that's a good game too. The Jaguars are playing very well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
They're playing good. They're playing good special teams. They're playing good defense. It seems like their quarterback is starting to come around finally. So we'll see. I mean, there's
So everybody, as we had mentioned before, Jason, did I just say that again?
It's all right.
Justin had went to the Giant game yesterday with his friend Mark, and after Dart's fantastic performance yesterday, they did some AI work and wrote a song about him. And I think if we're gonna end our time tonight, I think I would play this song before we go. What do you think?
Oh yeah, let's go.
You lost your camera.
My camera's off?
Yeah.
I can still see me. I don't know.
I see you now. Now we all know why he has an Iron Maiden shirt on.
The empire rises in the New York night. Jackson Dart, our savior in blue and white. Helmet on, he's a shadow in the storm with a cannon for an arm. His legend is born. Feel the force in the huddle. Darth Vader, ruler of the glittering sky. Lightsaber spirals, defenders just fly. In the shadow of the goal, he's the Dark Knight's art. All hail the chosen one, Jackson Dart.
Good thing Tommy Cutlets didn't.
That's a good
become
song, man.
It's a good thing Tommy Cutlets didn't become it, because I can only imagine that song.
Oh my goodness.
All right, everybody. I don't even know what to say after that, but I can't
I hope
wait.
you enjoyed it.
I can't wait to trim that down and post it and see what people say. It really is unbelievable.
The
But that's our
chosen
show.
one.
That's our show for today, this week. And I look forward. Thank you, everybody. You've been great. The subscriptions are up. The viewership is up. And I appreciate everything from everyone, especially you, for all your knowledge and everything you bring to the show. It's been amazing. So
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoy looking forward to it every week. And I wish you a continued success, of course, as we move forward.
see you later. You'll be here. Don't worry. See you.
Take care.
You aren't going anywhere. I won't let you. Bye. Too funny.
That was pretty wild. That could blow up for us. Oh, all right. I'm done. Nope, not yet. Can you still see me? The camera's still running. I'm still running here. Am I live? Are we still live? I don't want to touch anything. Maybe I can go through here. Waiting for instructions. So if I am live still, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the song. Let's see. I apologize if the video is down, but the camera was still rolling. If you can hear me again, I apologize. My camera is still rolling, Steve. Oh, I'm just waiting for the judge to give us direction. So if I'm still rolling, let's go Jets. Haven't said that in a while. I still hate Miami. So I hope for the sake of Mario, Mike, Frank, and the rest of the boys, Nitin, Rick, that the Jets can pull it off tonight for you because you deserve a victory, especially after the Giants won yesterday. So, hopefully you get something out of them tonight. I'm hoping for Brees Hall to have 150 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns minimum. I'm feeling 175, but I'll take 150 and 3 touchdowns because I need that to beat Rick in fantasy football tonight. So hopefully the Jets can right the ship, get themselves in the win column, and move forward. That's all I have for it. As far as the Yankees are concerned, we talked about that on the show already. So let me see what Steve says. After that, I'll get to give you the tour. Let's see what Steve says. Get out of this. Go back to here. I don't want to leave empty camera space. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay.